James is the founder of TwinTone AI, a revolutionary product that connects creators and their fans more closely than ever. He is one of the leading minds in the Web3 and AI space. In this episode, we discuss how AI will impact the creator economy, the future and dangers of interacting with AI long term, and how to position yourself as a modern creator so you don't get left behind by the incoming AI wave. Enjoy this one, guys. It's okay to be obsessed. Go all in. Don't apologize. Let your craft consume you. Every detail, every inch. Let the feeling go. Let the feeling of going further be your fuel. Extra hours, extra reps. Set such an extreme destination, then burn the boats. Okay.
Yeah.
How has that mindset played out for you in recent years and in your life in general?
It's worked great.
Yeah.
I'm one of those ones that really lets the craft consume me. You know, I sort of made this big switch. I would say probably when I hit my 30s, or just before, where I just started, becoming obsessed and doing some pretty extreme things. And I feel like mindset is just everything.
Yeah.
And I love going deep within myself and I think mindset is probably one of the most powerful things that, I've got.
Yeah.
Dude, I love all that stuff. It fires me up. It keeps me driven. It keeps me focused on what I want to achieve in life. So, yeah.
Mate, I saw you put that, and I really love the idea of set such an extreme destination, then burn the boats. How did you get there? How did you get to that mindset over time? And how has that played out in decisions you've made, maybe risks you've taken? I'm curious about how you kind of built that mindset, because it doesn't happen just instantly, because that's perhaps more just insanity if it's just a quick flitch. So I'm interested, how you kind of got to that point.
I during COVID was probably one of the best things that ever happened to me.
Yeah.
Being such a party boy and extrovert and building this whole brand around rowdy, life of the party, always there, always having fun, And then I found myself in COVID, in an apartment with my flatmate, and it was just me and him. And then he's like, dude, I'm going to move out with my girlfriend. So here I am, this extroverted person in Melbourne, the worst lockdowns in the world, and I can't escape.
Yeah.
So I started going really deep into myself, right? It was like peeling back layers of an onion. And who is James Rowdy? And I started doing this deep work, and I found the outlet being really sort of like extreme physical and mental exercises, right? In COVID, I would sit on an assault bike for 2 hours just going nuts, just to prove this point that I could do all these things. In COVID, I ran an ultra marathon in a hotel room.
No way.
Yeah.
And How did that work?
I did that in 6.5 hours, and I raised $1,600 for charity.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
This mindset is sort of something that I've crafted over the years, and I feel like now I just look at it and I'm just like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Life's rigged in my favor. I can't lose. You go through highs, you go through lows. Life's like a Bitcoin chart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Extremely volatile. I think that the mindset's the most important thing you can have. And I went through some tough times recently.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, well, look, it is what it is, you just keep going. There's not much else you can do, you can't give up. That's not an option. So you just got to keep moving forward. But I feel like when I was in COVID, that's when I started really building this mindset and really started, I guess, rebirthing myself and sort of, going this completely different direction as opposed to when I was younger, partying and all the rest of it.
Mate, I love that. And the reason I wanted to kind of start there is because one of the things I massively admire about you is your mindset and your grit, your determination, your vision, your positivity, everything. I really, really admire that. And I think obviously all the work you're doing, the foundations of it, I wanted to start with that because I think it's important to give people that context of who you are and how you attack things as well. This is another thing you put. We're not going to do this the whole time, but there's two things that really stood out to me. That for me, from the time I've known you, really, I feel from you as well. Every setback is a step forward, teaching us resilience, fortitude, and the value of our vision. In the journey of creation, every difficulty shapes a stronger creator. In the moments of trial, we find our true strength. So when times have got tough, how has the vision that you have for yourself and your business and your startup and everything you're doing, how has your vision kept you going and made you stronger through these tough times?
Yeah, I mean, dude, like, I'm just obsessed. Like, I've got this vision in my head and no one's getting in my way. Like I said, life's rigged in my favor. I can't lose. If people get in my way, I have to remove them. Unfortunately, like, I'm just completely obsessed with this vision and I'm going to get it no matter what. No one can stop me. Like, no one. I don't care if I lose friends, family, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm getting that goal.
Yes.
And I've proven that point to now where I've just, if people get in my way, like, that's cool. Sorry. You got to jump off here, mate. I got to keep going. No, you can't stop me. And when you build that unstoppable mindset, like, you can't lose. Like, you can't lose. Literally, life's rigged in your favor. What you think up here is what you produce, right? So if you keep doing that, go, oh, shit. Even if you're, if I go homeless, I've been homeless before, when I was 17. And I was like, oh, well, look, you just keep moving along. And, I've made lots of money in the past and I've lost lots of money in the past.
Yeah.
But it's all good. Like, nothing's getting in my way. And I think that is one of the most important qualities you can have as a founder, but even in life, you know what I mean? So I think, yeah, just when you become, like, truly obsessed, people can say they're obsessed. Your behavior tells otherwise if you're obsessed or not. And I'm completely and utterly obsessed with the vision in my head, where I'm going, what I'm doing. I'm obsessed.
So there's this great thing I like to think about that is sometimes you get a hold of an idea, but sometimes an idea gets a hold of you. And I feel that with you, with this vision, this direction, that idea, James Rowdy is the tool that's why nothing gets in the way, because there's a mission, there's a purpose. This idea has me and that's it. End of story, it's happening. But I'd love to kind of unpack that. What is that vision? Like, what is that thing that day to day you're working on now? What is the big picture? What's the 10-year, 50-year picture? The macro, how it affects the larger world, and then kind of what that actually looks like in the day to day, what you're doing at the moment. I'd love to explore, what the vision is and, help people understand it so it can be spread and put out there.
Yeah. So I think the best way to just tell the audience what it is. So TwinTone, it's basically the future of creative fan engagement. So the best way I explain it with people is like, I feel like this is the next podcasting era that we're stepping into. And this is the trend that I've identified. Podcasting, when it started years ago, and now, how it's grown and how popular it is now with the introduction of AI. But I think the whole engagement interaction as we have as humans is going to change. And I feel like TwinTone's going to be I know TwinTone's going to be at the head of that. So the best way to explain it is TwinTone, we create lifelike AI avatars of creators that mimic their personality, tonality, their voice, their gestures, everything. Everyone FaceTimes with their friends, family, whatever. Think about having a FaceTime with your favorite creator, influencer, celebrity, artist, anytime, anywhere. We basically plug the creator's social media into TwinTone and trains the AI model. The interactions between the creator and the AI twin are encrypted. The beautiful thing, the three main problems that we're solving here, which is quite cool, is one, monetization. 98% of creators earn less than $1,257 a month. 97% of creators don't engage with their audience at all. Yes, you people listening, you've got your DMs flooded, you're not giving people attention, but I understand why. 90% of creators deal with burnout. We live in an attention economy now, where attention's the new gold, and it's driven by creators. Put this into context, creator economy is currently valued at $250 billion. I was just in the gaming economy prior to this. That's valued at close to $200 billion. To put that into perspective, the music, movie, and film industry combined doesn't even match the gaming industry. So creator industry is by far one of the leading industries, right? And then also, if you look at all the rest of the statistics, in the next 2 years, the creator industry is valued to be at $430 billion in 2 years' time, 2025, right? So the way I see it is TwinTone has a play in that. We can come in, your AI digital twin, your fans can now interact with the AI twin, TwinTone, and you can ask it any questions you may like that you'd want to, ask your favorite creator. So what does that do? Well, one, it helps monetize, gives the fans the engagement. Also, it becomes a content creation platform where creators can now create content with their digital twin. So what does that do for the human and the creator, and what does that do for the fan? Well, for the creator, now the digital twin is accessible for a small fee per minute, but their interaction as a human goes up 10, 20, 100x maybe, right? Time is the most expensive resource in the world.
Yes.
Right? It's finite. You don't know how much of it you've got. So that's why people are very guarded these days. Like, where do I invest it? Is this a good investment? What's the ROI here? And that's why, a lot of these creators feel like they can't have these interactions with their fans because they're like, is this a good use of my time or not? Well, this is what TwinTone solves. And I think what we're going to see in the future is a lot more people in general having relationships with these AI twins. We're already seeing it now. And if you look at the trends of what's happening, it's crazy, So that's sort of like the broad vision of it. We've on the road, in my mind, the vision is unicorn status.
Yeah.
And I'm not one of these guys it's going to be worth $1 billion. I've done the maths. I know what it's worth. So I've broken everything down. I've got a great team in my corner. They've built 2 unicorns before and they understand it. And when I broke down the maths, I go, okay, that makes sense. So for me, that's why I'm like, cool. So now we have our first product live and we're launching in the next couple of days just before Christmas.
Oh man, excited.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to get stuck into it. I genuinely am. I'm so excited to get stuck into it. What can creators do to prepare themselves for AI, TwinTone? What should creators be doing now? Because this is coming. You can see the creators who are stuck. I mean, the creator economy moves so quickly. You can see people who are stuck kind of like 18 months ago. Their content's not quite hitting. They're just kind of off. They're off the pace of it. In your opinion, what should creators be doing to be at the forefront, to meet these things, to meet these new technologies that are coming in, but to do it in a way that is unique to them and they don't become just like a boring clone like everyone else? It's like, we're all doing this now. How do creators meet that with their originality and their genius that they bring as a creator? How do they meet these tools to make it just amazing for both, like an amazing experience for the fans, audience, and leverage these tools as they come in?
So there's new AI tools and just tools in general coming out every day. And you learn one, and then maybe for a month or 2 it's working, and the next one coming out it changes, and you're like, now I've got to do this, and you start creating these workflows and systems and SOPs, and they're constantly changing and evolving. So I feel like the big friction there is there's such an abundance of tools, there's such an abundance of new cool features and ideas and all that. As a creator, all they want to do is create. They want to go and live their life, and that's why a lot of creators choose this path, but so they can, make good money, go and travel the world, have a good time with their friends and family, and do what's important to them. Some of them are very passionate about just creating in general. That's where with TwinTone, they can keep creating as normal. Our whole focus isn't to come in and be like, we're the next Facebook, we're the next Instagram. No, there's too much friction there. Instagram and Facebook are ingrained in our culture now. Same with TikTok and Snapchat and all these other ones. So all we do is we complement these other platforms. Creators can go and keep posting on there. All that data is being fed to their twin, and their twin is completely customizable, right? So they can make it a bit more naughtier or sassier or a bit more intelligent or whatever they want. They can be very creative with it. And I feel like when we do that, we allow the creators to have that freedom. If you look at, I think the beautiful thing about, if you look at OnlyFans as a platform, fascinating how that works, right? And the beautiful thing about OnlyFans is that they've allowed creators to monetize their brand, right? And themselves. And here's a crazy statistics with OnlyFans. 60 to 70% of each creator's income comes from messaging.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the content that they're posting, the fans, they get to see that, but they're actually craving that engagement.
Yeah. Right?
So that's when I started to see these gaps, and I was like, okay, cool. Why not create a platform that complements these? It can plug into, OnlyFans and the Instagrams and Facebook, Snapchats, YouTube, TikToks, all of them. They create their content, and then their twin will start being duplicated how they want to be, right? And then the fans can go and create, engage with that, ask any questions you may have, whatever. And that whole thing, they can then build a relationship with your digital twin, right? And the other cool thing is that it's not just, you can go and chat with them. We work one-on-one with the first 27 creators that we have, and we're working to customize their funnel. So these are all from different niches, and they all might have different services or products that they're trying to sell. So then what we do is we sit down with them and we go, okay, cool. So now they've got the conversation, and depending how the conversation goes, are you a fitness creator and you want to sell them a meal plan? You might get the same questions every day. Hey, bro, what protein should I take? How much creatine should I take? Is this the right food I should be doing? Should I be doing sit-ups? How do I get a six-pack? All these questions. Well, if you curate that, and then it could be like, all right, cool. Yep. It might ask all these questions and then go, all right, cool. Well, why not, buy my meal plan, or here's a workout plan for, a small fee, right? So you prolong that conversation, which you've monetized. So you're getting rewarded for that time. And then also you're upselling your products and services at the same time as well.
We all know that Instagram is the new business card. It is your portal to the world, and it is the world's portal to you. The way things are going, if you're not online, you're going to be left behind over the next few years. So whether it's for networking, your business, or even relationships, your Instagram says everything about how seriously you're taking yourself and your work. It's where you invite people into your world. If you're a modern creator and you're looking to grow and scale your personal brand, you want to get paid more to be yourself and offer your unique value. You want to connect with other like-minded creators and build something that you are deeply proud of. You've become fatigued of everyone offering magic solutions online, and you actually just want to focus on delivering your unique value and what actually works. You want to connect with real creators, real artists, and real entrepreneurs. That is exactly why I launched the Modern Creator Group. We work on your unique positioning to make you one of one and a key person of influence in your specific niche. We optimize your socials to gain attention and then convert that attention into paying clients. And we focus on creating a value-driven brand that doesn't rely on pushy sales techniques. So this group is for long-term creators playing long-term games. You are looking to grow with other creators and create a deep impact while scaling your income. Click the link in the description to find out more about how to join Modern Creator, or feel free to reach out to me on Instagram and I can give you more details about how to join. It's amazing. It's one thing I wanted to dig into around that is, how do creators maintain a genuine connection with their audience? So how do they train, the AI in a way that is authentic, and they're not just kind of training it based on, let's say they go, I've read this book, and they train the AI on like a book they've read, rather than actually themselves and their own unique kind of creativity. How do creators go about actually training the AI so it is a unique AI? Like if I interact with your AI, that's a completely unique experience that isn't going to be the same as anyone else. So it's not going to sound generic. How do creators go about doing that? And how does TwinTone kind of ensure that and make it really, really unique experience for audience members?
So because they can just create freely on these platforms, the data then goes to TwinTone and then it curates what that model looks like, right? So it allows the fans to engage that way. So they get an accurate representation. They can tweak certain things with it and be creative. But if they want that one-on-one genuine interaction, well, then they can pay a premium for that.
Yes.
Right? The thing is, creators are the new celebrities these days. Yeah. They demand so much attention. And people, when they go into the streets, I mean, you look at like some of these large creators, Kai Cenat and all these people, riots break out because people just go crazy for these people, right? Yeah. At the end of the day, they're humans, you know, but they just do it so well and they create great content and people relate to it. And that's really, really cool. So I think the cool thing is with that is just like, we just ensure that it's an accurate representation of the creator within reason. We don't really, they can be creative as they want with it, but ideally they want to create a twin of themselves. Because if, let's say, if it is Kai Cenat and then he goes, I'm going to train myself up to be like, Donald Trump, then okay, that might be fun for a period of time, and then it would just like lose its value, right? People want to engage with Kai Cenat because he's Kai Cenat, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I think that's probably the best way that we do it. We do have moral and ethical standards involved in this practice. It's because there's so much gray area in terms of like regulation and the speed that this is going so fast, is that, we really focus on, like I said, the conversations are completely encrypted. However, if a fan comes in and might have a prolonged conversation and then talk about, self-harm or something along these lines, we do have moral and ethical standards that it does flag that conversation. It's something that we do look at. But yeah, we, again, just iterate on that. It's just, we try and keep it as best of a representation of the creator as we can.
Okay, so exciting, man. It's so exciting. How does this look? For a lot of people who'll be watching this, they may start seeing this and they might be able to interact with a few of these twins relatively soon. What does that look like for them in terms of, we spoke about the visual side of it as well as kind of like the chat side of it. When you jump into one of those interactions, what does that actually look like for them as someone who's connecting with the twin? What's that kind of the steps they go through? How often are they interacting with it? How do you see that relationship being over a week to a year? Like, what is that like? I mean, obviously it's new and we don't know, but like, how do you see that kind of unfolding?
So our beta version is voice and text, so you can switch between the two. We've gone for the voice because that's more of a personalized approach, and then early next year we'll be rolling out our videos, the FaceTime feature. But yeah, the main way that, like, we've seen a lot of competitors in the market where it's just, they might be using a ChatGPT, a plugin and using their API, but it lacks that depth and personality, right? So with us, it's like we train the model as a really great representation with their voice, and we've got that, and then we're just working. I mean, you're lucky enough to see a bit of the demo of the video, but we're working on on that, rolling that out next year. But yeah, at the start, it's voice and video, voice and text interaction. Sorry, yeah.
And over time, like you said, it does build a relationship. It's not. It will recall the conversation you've had. So, any sort of use cases with any of kind of the creators that you have on board, how might that look? And what benefit do kind of the audience get out of those interactions over a period of not just like the quick, I have a question. Over a period of a year, what benefit does that user get?
Well, relationships are important, right? I mean, there's epidemics of loneliness and mental health, anxiety, depression, all that sort of stuff. So a lot of these people, like I said, they put these people on a pedestal and they want to, interact with their favorite creator. They crave that engagement. So we've created our own unique language model that is a clear representation of their creator. So it'd be like me coming on and chatting with your AI twin. I'd be like, hey, and I'd be asking questions back. Hey, bro, how are you? Yeah, good. I've been doing this. Okay, cool, this and that. And then after a while, if you don't interact with it, I might ping you a message like, hey, how'd you go with that project? Or how's the podcast going? So it remembers these things and will ask you questions. So it's like we're trying to keep it as genuine and authentic as possible with the interaction, right? There are a lot of competitors out there where you can go and do text and that's all fine, but it just lacks that personality, right? And then the other thing is like each interaction is completely unique, right? So when you think about that, is that, okay, cool, I'm building this one-on-one relationship with them. And it could be a period of 6 months, a year, 5 years, however long, right? And I think that's quite cool because it remembers your birthday, start remembering your birthday and asking you all these other things as well. And that's, it's getting as close to like, the AGI as possible, without actually getting there.
So it's so exciting. And I can really clearly see like your vision, you see it. And it's really great to, when I'm hearing it, I see it as well. And it's so cool, man. I can see what the future is going to look like. It's really amazing. You mentioned AI GC, and I mean, so there's another question I have from this, but I know you've spoken about before that AI GC is going to take over UGC. The UGC is maybe going to blur the lines for a bit, but then AI GC is going to take over. How do creators make sure they're not hijacked by the AI GC? So I know you've spoken about this before, that the AI GC is just going to come in and it's going to be a wave and it's going to happen quickly. What are the dangers around that? How do you see, because it's always a correction, right? Something will come in and then it will correct. How do you see that kind of playing out with the AI GC? And then what's the swing back to kind of a more balanced state?
So I think, at the moment now we're seeing AI creators, so AI generated content, and a lot of these AI creators, they look real. I mean, you've seen a couple that have gone viral recently, and then there's a lot of CGI creators who have been doing this for years who already have vast audiences. I feel like at the start of next year, these AI influencers, they've done quite well this year. But they don't have that engagement, and it's usually a marketing team or a creative team behind them that really build that product, and they might be making X amount per month, but I feel like that phase will sort of start to die down next year. We are working with a bunch of AI creators to give them a voice with TwinTone, but I feel like whether you like it or not. And a lot of people have mixed opinions on this, and I'm aware of the dangers involved. It's yin and yang with everything that we do in life, right? I feel like in the future you're going to have AI companion, whether that be a romantic relationship, whether that be a mentorship, whether that be you're a personalized accountant, whatever that is, you're going to have these companions with AIs. And I feel like with creators, there will become a thing where they start building their own teams of AI mentors or relationships. And I feel like that's going to be a big paradigm shift. And then us as, humans interacting with and building these relationships with all these people, that's going to be huge in the future. So I feel like there's going to be a big shift there between the sort of like, we're going through that phase of the AI influencers, and then that's when the AI connections really start taking flight halfway through next year.
It's so exciting, man. And I love AI. I absolutely love AI and everything that's coming out. I think it enhances your creative ability. It just gives everyone so much power to be creative in ways that were never possible before. Like, I can see these where, we could have a podcast. We could just send our twins to have the podcast, but then we can then have the podcast and talk about what they spoke about. And it's just such an interesting way to approach things that's never been possible before. I find it so fascinating and exciting. What can people do to, in your opinion, what's the human side of it? What does this mean? Yes, we can see all this technology coming in, and it's amazing. What's the benefit for the human side of things as well? Us as human beings who are flesh and bone, who are, we break, we have emotions, we're very imperfect. What's the benefit for that side of us? How do you see, because I know AI often gets the focus on the dangers and you're going to lose your jobs and all this shit that people don't really think about deeply. What's it going to kind of move the focus to as a human? Have you kind of thought about that? And
I think it's being creative. At the core of humans, we're creative animals, right? Yes. We're creative animals, right? I mean, if you look at the overall life cycle of humans, we've come from these Neanderthals to building these, monolithic structures across vast cities and continents and, all these things. So I think like what it comes down to is it allows humans to have free time to go and travel or do things that really lights them up and be creative and really focus on the right things. But there's two ways, there's going to be the optimists who are like, this is great, I can use AI. I mean, you're already seeing people now who are leveraging it the best way they can to make the most of things. And then you have the pessimists like, is it going to take my job? What should I do? I'm freaking out, this and that. It's just like, look, at the end of the day, you need to keep adapting and you need to keep growing and leveling up. And that's the whole cycle of being a human being, right? You want to keep growing and getting better. And there's all these tools. And like now's like the best time to be a human being, right? Like you can make money at the click of your fingers online. It's crazy. And then if you use a lot of these AI tools, I've seen people who have created AI influencers who make, 10, 20K a month just by creating content. Yeah. And I'm like, wow. You could never do that before. There's people who just, a lot of people rely on AI tools now, which is, it gets a bit lazy and all the rest of it. But I feel like, I mean, it's already so interesting. I mean, like now it's just me and a couple of AI agents. I've got some, a team and working for me as well. But, it's just me and those guys, really.
Yeah. Those guys, yeah.
Those guys. That I just get them to do a lot of these little repetitive tasks for me, like, cool, I got to do this. Okay, go through that process and all the rest. But circling back to the question, I think it allows us to have more freedom and be more creative, and I think that's really, really important. Right? Everyone wants freedom, and I mean, like, what's happening in the world, in the macro, there's a lot of change that's happened in the past 12 months. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, 2024 is going to be very, very scary, but very optimistic about the whole macro trend of that, like being a human is like amazing. Yeah. Like how exciting.
It's so much fun, man.
Yeah, it's so much fun.
What time to be a human. I love this. I was actually reading this earlier. And quick one from me, guys. If you are a modern creator looking to grow and scale your personal brand, you like the way I think and solve problems, you're looking to dial in your brand, positioning, and leverage authentic, no BS marketing that is aligned with your brand's vision and mission, and you're interested in working together more closely, please feel free to reach out on IG and we can discuss just that. Back to the episode. I don't know where you are with religion and your own things there. Personally, I find there's a lot of lessons that are very applicable nowadays that often get ignored because of stigma around certain religions. Now, in various religions, they say, God created us in his image. And a lot of the time we perhaps think, oh, he looks like us, does he? And we kind of have this like perception of a Santa Claus like figure in the sky who's like zapping down things. Now, something I've been reading recently, a great book called Conversations with God, really interesting book that I recommend to anyone. But it talks about that God made us in his image. He did, a creator. He was the ultimate creator, and we're each little sparks of that creation. When we're creators too, that's what it means to be made in the image of God, is we are creators. And I think a lot of what people are scared of with AI isn't that they're going to take their jobs, because no one likes their fucking jobs. Like the people who are complaining about it don't actually like those jobs. What they're scared about, in my opinion, is they're not going to be able to create, because that's what makes us human. That's what really makes us thrive. And, that's usually people's mission is a creative mission. Well, it always is. We are creators. And I think that people are going to, that's what they mean, is they're worried that they're not going to be able to create. And they just envision themselves lying on a bed with just things being brought to them, consuming. But I think what's so interesting about what you're doing and your mindset behind all of this, it actually enhances you as a creator. It's like tools. It's like the new laptop. We can have these ideas that come in, and now we can just turn them into reality through AI quicker than ever before. It does so much of the heavy lifting for us. And I think for me, it's so exciting because it just empowers, as a creator, as a creative being, these tools are so revolutionary, and the time from idea or inspiration to action to reality is just getting shorter and shorter and shorter. And that's a very exciting power. I mean, it's a lot of power comes with that, but that's a very, very exciting future. I'd be curious to know, any of your thoughts on kind of any of that, and us as creators and creative beings, and what you think there.
I'm not a religious person. I never really have been. I'm very spiritual. Yeah. I've learned a lot more about religion, especially going to Dubai and the whole Muslim culture. Such a beautiful culture. Yeah. And such a beautiful, religion. Yeah. And then learning about the crossover between Christianity and Muslims. And, there's so many similarities between them, Christians, Buddhism, all these sorts of, religions. And I think religion is very beautiful in certain, scenarios. But yeah, I agree with you. At the end of the day, we're creators. Yeah. So, if you work in a factory and you're a forklift driver or whatever, you're still creating great things every day, right? And, and you're creating relationships, or you're creating things at work, or ideas, whatever it is. At the end of the day, you're a creator. So, yeah, I'm bullish on humans. Super bullish on being a human and humans long term. And I feel like look at having inspirational figures like Elon Musk. He's like, all right, cool. Well, let's fix the planet and let's be an interplanetary species.
Great idea.
What a great idea. Why didn't we think about that before? Like, let's go to the moon. Okay, we've done that. What's next? Back to Earth. But yeah, I feel like at the end of the day, being a human is a very lonely journey wherever you are. So a lot of people need to believe in something and gives them faith. And they feel like they need to be a part of something. And that's been ingrained in human culture from, being a Neanderthal. You had to hunt in packs and groups and this and that, and then the birth of civilizations and, go on. So, yeah, I mean, and that's why it's important being a creative human being, because you get to meet like-minded individuals and curate ideas and this and that and share those with each other, right? And I think that's the beautiful thing about that. But, yeah, I mean, the way that I look at it, spirituality is just like, I'm a big firm believer in, like, there's a bigger force out there. Like, okay, whether we call him God, whether we call him the universe, whatever we call him, I feel like just be a fucking good human being. If you do good things come to you. When I was younger, I used to do a lot of bad things. And, when you're younger, you do those things and you go, fuck, why am I not rich yet? Like, well, fuck, idiot. You're partying every weekend. You're doing drugs, alcohol. Like, come on, mate. And then now I'm like, all right, cool. Now I want to help people and do, better things for, myself, my friends, my family, and sort of try and contribute to humankind in some way, shape or form. But yeah, I feel like, if you just be a good person, it will compound, I
love that, man. And it's such an interesting one. I appreciate speaking about it because, the problem is a lot of the time labels. You say spiritual, people will go, oh, right, you're up in Ubud with crystals and chanting and okay, whatever. Or you say God, people are like, oh, you're a Christian, this and that. As soon as you put a label on something that realistically, if what we're trying to describe is the most impossible thing to ever describe, but as soon as you put a label on it, people just associate all of these kind of negative things, whichever way it is. But what I'm curious, because you spoke about being a good person, and that's when kind of things come back to you. And I fully agree with you. With everything you're doing, with your vision, and with everything you're building, how do you make those decisions in line with, what's the belief system around it? How do you know that, right, this is the decision, it's maybe a more difficult decision, but it's in line with what I believe, that it's actually going to be the greater benefit, that this is in line with what I'm trying to create and what I want, me being a good person. What do you use as like a sounding board or a reflection to help you make those decisions, rather than picking something that might make more money more quickly or is easier or is a shortcut? Like, how do you go about that for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few ways that I do it. Being a man is really tough. Being a woman's tough too, right? When you're a man and you've got a lot of people depending on you, like I have my partner and I have my family and business partners and friends and stuff like this. When you make decisions, and look, I've made so many wrong decisions. That's the beautiful thing. Like, oh, well, that didn't fucking work, I mean, it took me fucking, 10 years of partying to figure out, all right, cool, this isn't really working. So many bad decisions. But now I'm like, okay, cool. I do a pros and cons approach, right? Yeah. And look, fuck, I mean, look, the way that I look at life is every day you get to solve problems.
Yeah.
Problems come to you and you've got to create solutions for them. My partner comes to me every day with problems. This, and I'm solving these for them, for us, and all the rest of it. Same with what happens at TwinTone. All we're doing is constantly solving problems. Isn't that fun? You get to solve problems every day. So I feel like I'm always like, okay, pros and cons. Okay, if looking at a problem, what's the upside here? Mm-hmm. What's the downside? If I do this action, what's it going to result in? Who's it going to affect? And all the rest of it. I think as humans, we make a lot of decisions every day. And this is the way I look at life. You've got the problem solution thing, but you're walking down a hallway. There's doors either side. Each one of them is an opportunity. Each one of them is a decision that you make every single fucking day. Your life can go left real quick. Mm-hmm. It can do a full U-turn. And isn't that exciting? So for me, I'm always like, okay, cool. Where's the vision? Where's the direction I'm heading? And now the problems that I'm solving and the decisions I'm making on those problems, how quick are they getting me to that end goal where I want to get to, right? So, I look at it that way. I feel like a lot of people just let problems get the best of them, look, life's fucking tough, fuck, it is. It's a full contact sport. It's going to fucking keep smacking you in the fucking face.
Life is a full contact sport.
Yeah, 100%.
It's going to keep smacking you in the face.
Yeah, exactly.
That is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I love that, man.
So it's just like, you've got no opportunity, so you've got no choice but to take that opportunity.
Yeah.
Right? So it's just like, cool, like, you want to be tougher, then the world's going to throw a lot of fucking tough shit at you, a lot of adversity that you need to overcome. You want to be smarter. Well, the world's going to throw a lot of fucking problems at you that you need to solve. Yeah. You want to love more? Well, cool. You've got to fucking learn to love yourself first. Right? So it's just like, life is a full fucking contact sport, fuck. So I feel like when you look at it that way, it's just like, be grateful that you get to solve problems every single day. I speak to friends who I've known for years, from New Zealand or high school or whatever, and they go around in these crazy loops, insanity loops. Yeah. And they come to me for advice or something like that. They're like, hey man, how do I get out of this? And I'm like, well, look at those behaviors that you're doing. Yeah. Right? What do you think those triggers are? Man. And that's the thing, I'm just like, fuck, like, I see so many people that have so much fucking potential. I meet them all the time, and I'm just like, hey, you've got something special here. You should fucking act on that. Yeah. You could get here if you just fucking apply yourself there and do that. Yeah. Otherwise life's going to keep coming, bang, 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 smacking you in the face.
Bro, I absolutely got goosebumps listening to you there. Life is a full contact sport, and you're so right. If you wanted to be a bit stronger, guess what you're going to get? You're going to get challenges, because that's what's going to make you. It's an uphill battle. You're going to get those challenges that are going to force you to be that person that you're looking to become. Absolutely loved everything you just said there. One of the things that I've been kind of an idea I've been playing around with, and realised it's something that I've been doing that really helps, and I'd be curious to know if you have a version of this for yourself. But we make decisions moment to moment. Everything happens in the moment. Happens in the moment, man. Like, it's true. Everything happens in a moment. How you show up to the moment is everything. The level of opportunities that you're going to unlock is kind of correlated to the degree to which you're showing up, your ability to show up to a moment and to tackle a moment in life's full contact sport. How are you tackling that moment? One of the things that I found really works for me is often we have these kind of like forks of to keep going or stop. And for me, one of the things that I've been doing is I'll get up in the morning, I have a short morning routine, and then I'll get on a treadmill. And then I'll run on that treadmill. Every song that plays, I don't do it by minute, every song that plays that changes, I put the speed up and I have the incline set a little bit. And then it gets to a point where I feel like I'm going to be, and look, I'm not the craziest physical guy out there, but this is just a mental tool that works for me. The physical side is almost not important. But what happens is it gets to a point where it's like, feels like I'm going to be sick because I've just been running really hard up. Now, the two options are stop and just stop because you feel like you're being sick. Or the second option is to make it a bit faster and just run even harder. And then when you're running even harder, you have to focus on that and not being sick. And you always are okay. This is why I find I'm always okay after it. So for me, getting to a point in the day as quick as possible where I'm faced with a fork and then choosing the one that is harder or the one that I know I need to choose, that trains me to find that in other moments as well. That's what I've been finding recently, that by doing that, cardio, brain food, whatever it is, I can then meet other moments and I can spot where I'm going, oh, well, this is tough, like just stop, versus run faster. I'm curious, how that sounds, and if there's anything for you that kind of, we spoke about your mindset, and if there's anything like that for you, where you know that, like, right, it's going to be tough, but I'm going to make that decision instead. That's the way forward.
Yeah, I'm always searching for the hard route, with certain things, but I feel like, every year I set myself a big goal, right? I'm like, oh, cool. This year's goal was to be sober, Yeah. I've partied my whole life, always struggled with drug and alcohol addiction. And now I've done it. I'm coming up to 400 days at the end of the year.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next year, it's the hard thing that I've set myself is doing an ultra marathon outside of a hotel room. But, I was sitting there and I was like, all right, cool. How much harder can I make it? And I fucking went on Red Bull's fucking 10 best marathons.
Yeah.
One was in Antarctica, like minus fucking whatever, 200K wins and shit like that. I was like, it's probably a bit too extreme. Yeah. But I decided to go, okay, cool, I'm going to do it on the Great Wall of China.
Wow.
With my uncle and my cousin.
Wow.
So three of us are going to do it together. So it's cool. So very, very hard and challenging. And it's like, cool, I feel like when you set something so big and ambitious like that, then and you overcome that, you're like, fuck, hey, what else can I fucking do? You know what I mean? You're like, oh shit, well, I've done that. Like, I never thought I'd run a fucking ultra marathon in a hotel room.
Yeah.
My ego pushed me to do it.
Huh.
I feel like ego is such a superpower.
Yeah.
And I feel like, I knew I was going to do the ultra, and I created this, I remember recording everything in, the hotel quarantine. I saw people go into hotel quarantine and they had the mindset of like either go on a bender for fucking 2 weeks, their mental health deteriorates, or freak out. Me, I was recording and documenting the whole thing. Hey guys, so this is what I'm doing today, da 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 da. And then I started building it up towards something, So I feel like if you have that great ambitious goal and you start, overcoming these like hard little things, and at the start, if we rewind back, like before I was running ultra, I was, running 2Ks and running 3K, 5, 10, 21, and then, done my first marathon and then ultra marathon in a hotel room.
That's crazy.
And then I'm just like, fuck. And then I'm like, okay, well, I've done it there. I can do it outside now, and it's just like, fuck, starting your own business. Like, just do the hard shit in life. That's the work, like, dude, the journey that I've been on, it's been fucking insanely hard. And I'm like, oh shit, fuck, sometimes it's too hard. You know what I mean? I'm like, fuck, all right, this is like building a business.
Strong,
building a business is hard. Doing physical exercise is hard. Doing mental exercise is even harder.
Yeah.
So choose your fucking hard at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
So, I think what you're doing is great. I feel like your insurance company's probably going to fucking hate you for doing that. But I feel like, absolutely, I agree with you. I feel like in the morning I do my little routine. I'm in the gym and I get creative because the blood's flowing. I'm like,
yes.
Yeah, okay, cool. And I start, writing, okay, cool, I've got to do this in my Notion and do that. And, oh, that's a cool idea. Maybe I should think about that. Let's look into that, whatever. And I'm just, I do something similar. I'm not running, but just in the gym, walking, and at the start, just warm up with some ideas. But look, life's full of fucking hard decisions. Choose your fucking heart. So it's just like, but I feel like if you choose one hard thing every year, it's called a misogi, like the Japanese thing. Misogi.
I've not heard of this. Yeah.
It's like a rebirth was the old term, but the modern term is like 1 year defining thing.
1 year defining thing.
Yeah.
A misogi.
That's
awesome, man.
Yeah, so you can choose one of those every year. And look, the crazier it is, the crazier the idea. the better it is. With TwinTone, I was like, all right, cool. I got this great idea, and then now I'm implementing it, and it's fucking hard. Starting a company's hard. A startup is even harder. It is insanely hard. I'm learning shit. One day I'm fucking learning all about fucking legals and all the bullshit and everything, and the next day I'm learning about, cap tables and safe notes and then, all the whole development side. So it's just like, you just got to choose your heart at the end of the day.
My friend Dan, who's had a couple of startups now, and he works with founders, he has this great thing that he says a startup, to give people kind of a level of the idea of hard, a startup is like, you've got a backpack full of some parts and you have an idea, you jump off a cliff and you're trying to build the plane as you're like falling down.
Yeah, that was my analogy of Web3 as well, right? We're flying this plane, we don't know where the fuck we're going, and we're building it at the same time. And it's fucking, in classic Mayday descent, we're going down. So it's just like, yeah, exactly. Like that is what hard looks like.
You've got to make it.
But yeah, I feel like you got two options. Fucking sit there and whinge about it, or you just got to fucking do it anyways.
How have you found being sober? How many days?
389 or something like
389.
that. Yeah.
How have you found being sober? How's that played out? And have you learned any lessons from that? And what's your theory on being like? What's the thesis now of being sober? How's that been for you?
Best decision of my life.
Yeah.
Dude, I built the brand around Rowdy. It was drinking, life of the party, like I said, drugs and alcohol. And I was a very lost soul and, went through a lot as a kid, and that was escapism. Now, I get value from meeting cool individuals like you, having intellectual conversations, stimulating that brain and solving problems and adding and contributing to society, as opposed to fucking Rowdy going out there, just a fucking liability. It was the best thing I've ever done. And I said to myself, I feel like there was that other part of me, which is like, cool, we're going to do the year and then, we'll just have a drink. And then one of my best mates said, dude, you won't get back.
Yeah.
And then I was like, drinking's fun. I love wine,
It is fun.
It's great. I feel like solving problems and contributing to society and being the best version of myself, chasing these Masojis every fucking year. If I do one hard thing every year, I'm going to live to fucking 100 the rate I'm going. So that's 100 cool things that I've fucking done, like massive things and massive challenges that I've overcome. And then in those years as well, I can go and do all these other things. But yeah, I've extended the runway. So I've set a new target for 1,000 days now. But yeah, I feel like we'll make a decision there. Maybe I'll do 2,000, this and that. But there's a lot of people who have made this shift. And, if you look at alcohol consumption globally, it's down I think it's 4.8% or something.
Brilliant.
Which is great. That's great to see humans actually doing better things with their time and life. So yeah, I fucking love it. I think everyone should do it, It's a tough thing to kick.
Yeah.
But I've just got that obsessive mindset, which is it's great because I'm just the ego thing that I just touched on. When people tell me I can't do something, that is the best thing you can fucking say to me.
Bro, yes.
There was a good friend of mine, and I said, yeah, man, I'm going to do a whole year sober. And he goes, ha! He goes, whatever, bro. And I was like, fuck you, watch this. And I'd done it.
Yeah.
And I rubbed it in his face, hey, that's very toxic, but,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that pushes me, to go and do the things. It's like TwinTone went through the fundraising round, pitching to VCs, and they're like, yeah, nah, it's not a great idea, this and that. And they're like, I don't think it would do this. I don't think. And I'm like, you fucking watch this, bro.
Yeah.
I'm gonna rub it in your face and be like, cool, this is what fucking happened.
I love that, man. And there's something you mentioned ego before, and I don't think we're quite done on sobriety because we could go for an hour so much on sobriety, but this idea of an ego, it is important. And when it's integrated with the understanding that we're also a collective, the ego gets a lot of hate nowadays. It's like, oh, lose your ego. It's like, no, you are an individual, but you're part of a collective. But your genius comes from you as an individual. And that, yeah, your ego, all of this, you need to be you. Okay, if you spend all of your time on mushrooms, like lost in just like the cosmos, you're fucking useless.
Yeah.
Great, you might feel amazing and understand that there's a deep connection to the world around us, but we need your ego, we need you as an individual, you're both. And it's that idea that we're, everything around us, we are an individual, separate, but we are also connected at the same time. I think that's, people I find often go one or the other. That's all bullshit, or we're all one man. It's like both. Like it's both.
It's your best friend and your worst enemy.
Best friend and your worst enemy. With sobriety, for guys or girls who they don't feel like they've got a huge sense of purpose driving them at the moment, they feel stuck. The Friday pints, the Saturday night out, even though perhaps they want to kick it, that's the thing that each week is kind of keeping them going at the moment. What's something that they can do to make that shift, to make that decision in a moment? How can they go about that to get out of it?
Yeah. I mean, fuck. We've been there. You know, when I always wanted to make this change and make this shift, I was always laughed at, you know, like, oh, whatever, really, you're just a party boy. You can't do this, you can't do that. I remember I had a group of my like very close friends who I grew up with, and I love these people to death. And they came over to Bali, and we were sitting there, and they were all drinking, and it was fine. I just felt like I didn't have anything in common with them anymore. And it's a really sad and lonely feeling like, fuck, I've outgrown these people. And I still crave that connection with them.
Yeah.
However, it's slowly drifting apart. So for the people who are listening, you've really got to look at your friends and where you are in life, because you're a product of your own environment. Trust me, I grew up in a small town in New Zealand. Everyone was driving around in cars, getting drunk and just doing dumb shit. And it's just like, I became part of that, you know, then started hanging out with drug addicts, became a drug addict, and, you know, alcoholism, this and that. And then I was like, all right, cool. Well, I know what I'm capable of. Like as a kid, I was like, fuck, I know, like I'm going to make such a huge fucking impact in the world, and, you know, just give all my love and my energy to everyone and be like, oh, this is James Rowdy. Then I was like, okay, cool. Where am I? And then comes back to the COVID thing, right? Here I am in this apartment, fucking climbing the fucking walls, started peeling back the layers of an onion and really going deep into who I am and what's my purpose. So I feel like all the people who are listening, guys or girls, if you're stuck in this bad routine and all that, you've got to really think about yourself. Like, what do I want to achieve out of life? Is it to have a family and do that? That's great. But what else is there? The people around you, you know, getting drunk with them every fucking weekend for the last 5-10 years, feel like there's deeper things there that people need to address, right? That's escapism, you know, and growing up in broken households and seeing how families and people interact with one another, and, you know, seeing these, you know, a lot of drug and alcohol abuse and, you know, physical and mental abuse with people and individuals. I was like, wow. And then learning more about this, and just knowing that, you know, I could achieve more, like, it's, I've been there, and I feel like, look, at the end of the day, you're a product of your own environment. If you want to change, it's got to come from you, and it's got to come from making that change from the people and you're surrounded by. A lot of people think, oh yeah, these people are my friends. No, they're not. Everything in life is temporary, right? Your friends, your career, your girlfriends, your boyfriends, your job, like everything, you know, your environment, everything is fucking temporary. When you get familiar with everything in life is fucking temporary, then you realize, okay, cool, the way I'm feeling is temporary. You know, you have good days, shit days, fun days, you know. So it's just like everything is temporary. So the way that you're feeling right now is temporary. The position that you're in is temporary. The environment that you're in is temporary. So make the change.
Brother, you are such a legend. There's so much wisdom. I'm so excited to see everything over the next few days now with the launch. Best of luck with the launch. Where can people find you? How can they get involved? How can they dig deeper? And get to go into your world more.
Yeah, cool. You can follow me on x.com at jamesrowdy.eth, across all social, actually, Instagram and Facebook, etc., LinkedIn. And you can follow at TwinTone AI across all social media as well. We're going live with our first creator. She's got an audience of over 3 million. We're just going to launch with her. We've got a whole bunch of other creators. Total audience size is about 220 million. We're just going to create the next viral sensation. So watch this space. Appreciate you having me on.
Brother, you're a legend. Thanks so much.
Thanks, brother.
Man.
Love you.